Hey guys, welcome to my channel. As my first video, I decided I wanted to film something that kind of shows me a little bit in it. So I'm going to film my makeup collection. This is going to be part 1, and the other part is I'll tell you guys about that later. So for the first part that I'm doing, I'm actually going to be showing you guys my makeup palettes that I've gotten and I saved up for. A couple of these palettes were given to me by family. Some palettes I actually won in a giveaway, and some, and the majority of them I've bought. So, I'm going to start off with some of the ones that I bought. Not all of these are eyeshadow palettes. They are some lip palettes in here, as well as like highlighters as well. So, starting off, one of my favorite and my first highlighters that I've ever gotten is the Anastasia Glow Kit in That Glow. Now, all of these are not my favorite shades. As you can see, I have used this quite a bit. Haven't hit pan on it yet, thank the Lord. I like to mix golden bronze and dripping in gold together to create my highlight, or sometimes I like to use golden bronze by itself. The next highlighter palette that I've recently gotten is the same glow kit, and it still has the plastic in it, but I've gotten another glow kit in Sun Dipped. There's the film. So I got it in Sun Dipped, and I haven't used it anything, but I have swatched it, and I absolutely love bronzed so much. So if I decide I'm not going to use those other shades, I might just put it in the upcoming palette that I'm about to show you. This palette I've actually just started to build. I haven't put it together quite yet, but it's just a Z palette that I got from Ulta. And then inside I have a couple of Anastasia eyeshadows. And then I have a contour shade and a sculpting shade. And those are actually from Walmart. So I have Brick here. I have Wine here. I have Amber here, Pink Champagne, Golden Copper, and I believe this is Tiger's Eye. And then these two I actually got from Walmart. I have to go through and see and remember if I got it or mixed up at Walmart and see exactly what brand this is. I actually kind of just made the little magnets to put on the back that came with this palette, so I am not quite sure about that. So yeah, these are the shades. A palette that one of the first palettes that I've actually gotten is this Violet Voss Holy Grail Pro eyeshadow palette. This palette, I don't think it's the most pigmented for sure. It does have a nice big mirror on it. However, I don't know if it's the best for my skin tone, but some shades in here I absolutely do love. I love Cranberry Splash here. I love Cool Beans, Toffee, On Fleek, Hashtag, Transition. Now, the Transition shade, I don't think it's fitted for my skin tone, so I actually kind of use Hashtag for my transition shade, which is weird because it is more of a orangey shade. So there we go. And I absolutely love the big mirror that this palette does have. In the description box below, I will make sure and I put all the palettes in there. One of the more recent palettes that I have gotten is the Tarte Pro palette by Tarte. I haven't gotten around to playing around this palette too much, but a lot of the shades I do love. A lot of these, I guess, duochromes, These I absolutely love. Minks I love so much. And this punk, I feel like it's honestly the best black shade that I've tried. There are darker shades, but that one definitely comes close. Palette that was given to me is this Sephora Sun Bleached Filter palette. I got this palette from my aunt at around Christmas time. I don't know if this palette is still around or not, but I actually do love this palette quite a bit. This was my, honestly, at one point, my ride or die palette. And this is more of like the daytime palette, but they do have a nighttime palette as well. So yeah. Majority of the shades in this palette aren't really women of color friendly or person of color friendly, but some of them are actually really nice to be worn as themselves. Haven't really tried a lot of these shades together per se. So yeah. A mini palette that I got for when I travel and whatnot, so I don't have to take one of the bigger palettes, is this Lorac Pro Matte palette. This small, cute little palette. It's great to just kind of throw in your bag or anything. It has a very neutral and warm shades, and it does have a cute mirror as well. This black here is honestly super duper pigmented for a black, and I find that so amazing for such a tiny little compact palette. The next palette that I have is the Huda Beauty textured eyeshadows, is it? Yeah, textured eyeshadows rose gold palette. I've noticed myself reaching for this palette quite a bit. I've kind of made a dent into this one right here. These at the top are so nice, but I'm sure as many of you know, you do have to use your fingers to apply these rather than using a brush. This palette, honestly, I've reached for this so many times in my makeup looks. These shades right here, I honestly like to wear them by themselves. I like to use Sandalwood as kind of a transition shade, and then I use henna in the crease, and then I use Cocoa as well, and then I blend these two together and kind of just blend the whole look together using a brush. And I just find it looks so nice and natural and simple. So this honestly may be like my kind of when I wear makeup tutorial, those shades. In the description box, I will make sure and I put all the palettes that I use and the prices next to them. Another palette that I have is the Tartelette in Bloom by Tarte palette. And this is the second one, I believe. And these shades are honestly so gorgeous. If I don't take that small little palette, this is definitely the second one that I will reach for when I travel, just because there are some very pretty shades and a lot of them are super duper buttery and lovely, and I just think they look amazing. Not the best of my swatching. Oop, there's me. Not the best of my swatching, but a lot of the shades do look quite nice. A lip palette that I have is actually the Anastasia lip palette, the volume 1. I actually keep this palette in such good condition because of the shades in here. I haven't dipped into a lot of them. I used some of them to kind of create my 4th of July look, and it looks like this. I love them. A lot of them are just perfect on their own. Some of them create such beautiful colors, like mixing the white, the red, and blue gets this like nice lilac-y purple. No, there's a purple right there, but those 3 shades together, mixed together, just gets the most beautiful color. If you want me to show you a demo of some colors that I've mixed and tried out or I'm going to try out, please let me know and that will be coming very, very shortly. So I have that. Now, on to pretty much Too Faced. I have the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This palette has such gorgeous shades. I did take this palette with me on a trip to Canada recently, and I think it was this palette and the small palette, and I used this palette a whole lot more than the small one, but they do work good together. Luscious on a clean finger and when it swipe, not even hard, is such this beautiful, like, champagne-like shade, and I love it so much. If you want me to swatch this palette on my skin tone, I will, and I will also include foundation shades that I'm in, so you kind of have an idea of my skin type. I do love this palette, and I do want to play around with this palette a whole lot more, just to see what shades look good. Another Too Faced palette that I have is the Chocolate Bar, and this does smell like chocolates. The Sweet Peach does smell like peaches, but this is so nice. This palette is honestly such a nice and neutral palette that I am going to be using this when cheer season starts for just kind of like my go-to look. I'm gonna throw this in my cheer bag and my makeup bag for cheerleading. That way on like away trips I can do my makeup on the bus, because it does have a nice little mirror here. And a lot of these shades are super duper natural and brown, which is honestly perfect for me because of my uniform colors, and I don't want to be wearing anything that has like pink in it or that type of stuff. So a nice neutral eye on the sidelines is honestly a winner with a nice little highlight going. And I just love this palette so much. Like, I'm just gonna swatch a couple like of those. Like, look at that. It's so nice. It's so creamy and buttery and nice. And it's not my best swatch. My swatch doesn't do justice to it, but that's kind of janky swatch. But yeah, there that is. Another palette that I have been dying to get, and when I finally got it, I was so excited, and I created so many looks with it, is the Modern Renaissance. Out of majority of my palettes, I feel like this is going to be the palette that I am going to hit pan on, because this palette and the shades are just absolutely gorgeous. It has a nice mirror on it, and I love this palette so much. Primavera, absolutely one of my favorites. I love Real Gar, Love Letter, and then Burnt Orange. So those are just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm gonna swatch them on my hand for you. Some of them didn't show up as well, but there's pretty much a swatch. Some of the black did get mixed into that Real Gar one, but I will swatch it again. One of the newer palettes that I've recently come across that I haven't gotten any chance to play with, I've just swatched it in the store, is the BH Cosmetics and Carly Bible Deluxe Edition palette. Now, the first one I do not have, but the deluxe one I absolutely love. What I saw from it in the store, and the film is still on and everything, and I haven't gotten around to touching this or anything. Now, these eyeshadows do look super duper promising for like transition shades, and they just look super duper nice. These are very creamy, and I honestly have to look at that highlight shade. Like, I have to read up on this palette so much because I'm this could honestly be like a whole face palette, if I'm being quite honest with you guys. So this palette is probably going to become one of my favorites on lower end, just because it is pretty cheap, and the swatches are absolutely beautiful. This shade right here is calling my name. Oh my god, that's beautiful. I might have swatched that a little too hard, but you know what? It's beautiful. Oh my god, look at that. My lighting probably does not do it justice, but it looks so nice. Wow. Then onto a palette that I actually won on Twitter. I actually won a Morphe giveaway, and I will link the person's account in the description box as well. I trust this person so much, and from her I won 2 Morphe palettes from her. I will do maybe a separate video of things that I won from her, but just for the sake of this, and it's a palette of course, I am going to show you. So I won a $50, I believe it was, a $50 gift card to Morphe. So you can get anything in the Morphe store as long as it's $50 or under. So I really wanted the 35O palettes, but I didn't want just 35O, I wanted 35 matte in the shimmers. So this is the matte one that I got. And this one, I love it so much, but it's honestly way too big to travel with or anything. It's more of like at home work type palette. Those reddish shades on the right hand side are like the most gorgeous thing ever, and I love them so much. And then along with that, I got the 35OS palette, and I love this so much, but I feel like the fallout of this is so bad. But for the price that you pay for this palette and the pigmentation and the amount of shades that you get, honestly, you can't complain with Morphe, and they are just so gorgeous. I have some clean fingers, so I'm going to swatch some shades right here. The thing about Morphe, however, that I wish you did get names to some of them, so you can actually put names towards it, because look how beautiful that is. And I believe the bundle is about $43 probably, but that's just the bundle, you know. So there it is, right there, those 4, and they are so gorgeous. But for however, one palette is about $22, and for all those shades, you honestly can't go wrong. I know there has been some controversy with Morphe and everything, but I feel like you just can't go wrong. I am going to clean up some of these palettes, and yeah. So thank you guys for the video and allowing me your time. Thank you guys so very much, and I will definitely come with videos later on.